Manga artists don't edit the story. He just help to create imagination of the writer and put it down all in the story as character or layout or background. He might or she like give some ideas. So you must have a catchy protagonist. You have to write that all that down, and also you have to put a goal for this character. And each chapter, this character is going to have an improvement or a character development. This is my story. They insist I don't want to change. Like, okay, please, you're doing this manga for the reader, not for your own self.
In our lives, we go through different journeys and we cross different bridges. But what do these journeys and bridges have in common? It's about our way of communication and our ability to communicate with one another. In the Bridge podcast, we're going to tap into this vast world of communication. It's not just about talking, it's not just about writing an email, it's more than that. In this episode, we've hosted Mrs. Samah Kamil, a manga artist who got global recognition and won a global award. We talked about storytelling and how a story unfolds and how it is related to an audience. And are all artists great storytellers? Please enjoy this episode. Thank you very much. From your perspective, what makes a manga perfect or something that people can relate to? From your perspective.
Okay, we cannot say like manga or every manga is perfect, but it depends on the story type. Like some people likes to read about specific type, like or genre. Like we have actually in manga there is 5 general type. They call it kodomo for the kids, like preschool, and there is the shonen, the most popular genre on manga. It's like covers the sci-fi, action, sports, and comedia. And the opposite of that is shoujo, the manga for girls. It's almost for the girls, but covers the romance, slice of life, high school, and stuff like that. And there is the other 2 types for adults, the seinen, which is for men. They call it the manga for men because it covers most the stuff, like we can say like it's 16 and plus, because there's a heavy topics they cover, like
Business, real life scenarios, so on and so forth.
and the opposite of the seinen is josei, which is manga for women, as it covers slice of life, drama, romance, and stuff. So we cannot say manga perfect. It depends on the reader, what he or she wants to read. So it depends on their types.
Okay. Now, as you mentioned, with these different types of manga, which of these types do you feel is more, I would say, famous in that regard in general? Is there any type where it's like it's always a hit with the audience?
We can say there is the most popular, which is shonen. Like it's the most readable manga. For me, also I read shonen, but they said it's a manga for boys. But it's the most readable manga because it covers most everything. Like we said, we have the sci-fi, action, mecha, which is the robots, sports, comedian, even like high school or the school life, which is like One Piece or Naruto or what else, Dragon Ball, the most popular mangas everyone read and watch as an anime.
Okay. And in general, which of these types, like you said, which is the most famous, which of these, let's say, manga types is the most difficult to reflect? So as you mentioned, when it comes to Dragon Ball Z, you're talking about One Piece. Yes, it's kind of a story that, yes, it's talking about a specific, you have a hero, you have a villain, and he has a story, and so on and so forth. While other types of manga have a different, as you mentioned, kind of a chemistry or sort of mixture. Which of these types that you just mentioned, the 5 main types, is the most difficult to reflect in that regard?
There is not a specific type. It's difficult to reflect. Actually, all the story is kind of difficult to reflect because as a mangaka, they call it for the artist or the writer or like the owner of this manga, you must make your reader wants to read more. So at first, when you want to release a manga, you cannot just put like chapter 1, chapter 2 or 3. You have to make it as a one shot. One shot is a manga from only one chapter. So they usually, like, you have this idea and you want to do this manga, you go to a publisher house or a publisher manga house. So you have this idea, then you publish it. If the reader like it and there is like a most view of it, they ask you, okay, come and continue this series. So it's not easy for you to make your manga like want to be what you want to make the reader to read more about it. So okay, not only the characters, we have environment, story, characters.
And from these 5 types that you just mentioned, going back to the manga types that you just mentioned, is there a unified process when it comes to putting a manga into place or start like creating a manga? Or is each and every type has their own process of thinking?
No, all the types have the same process. At first, you have the idea. As a mangaka, if you were both the writer and the artist, or only the writer, you start with an idea, then you have to work with a manga editor because he or she will help you to improve that story. So you tell them, like, I have this idea, I want to publish it or I want to make it. Okay, let's write it down. And that is the most important thing. What's the genre and what's the audience, the age of the audience? Like, as we said, you have to from the beginning you have to choose like which genre. Like, is it kodomo for the kids, or shonen for the boys, shoujo girls, or the adults, seinen or josei? And then you will start writing down, and also like the time, the place, you have to write all that down. And the most important is the hero. As a protagonist, you must have or make that protagonist very catchy. You must want the reader feel related to this character. Like, let's say most of the stories we have in shonen, like we have that hero, he wants to be like the superhero, or he wants to be the best. Like, let's say One Piece, Luffy wants to find the One Piece. Naruto, he wants to be a Hokage. Let's say, what else we have? Eren from Attack on Titan, he wants to take revenge for his mother and kill all the Titans. So you must have a catchy protagonist. You have to write all that down, and also you have to put a goal for this character. And each chapter, this character is going to have an improvement or a character development until he or she reach that goal.
And going back to just mentioned a couple of good points, but I want to, let's say, go more in depth into it. When it comes, as you mentioned, different manga types. Some manga types address adults. Some manga types address younger audience.
Yeah.
When it comes to processing that manga, how can I? What are the main differences when it comes to writing a manga for a child, or a story for a child, or a story for an adult? So, for example, me when I was young, I used to read a lot of Majid magazine. Majid magazine. It was, for me, it was something amazing. I also ignored all of the information. I always go through the stories because I felt related to these stories. While if I look at something like One Piece, Attack on Titan, at that age, I wouldn't be as intrigued as I am now. So, from a psychological perspective, when making a manga specific for children or making a manga specific for adults, what are the main differences when it comes to creating that manga?
As I said, as first, before you make the story, or from starting from the idea, you have to know who is your audience. So if you're making this story for kids, or as we said, the type is kodomo, or shortcut for kodomomoki, you have to make it very simple. Not only the story as a storytelling or as writing it down, even the drawings. The drawings, we can see like how simple and cute the drawings. Like, the head is very big, the eyes are small. You know, Morocco-chan? Morocco Sagira, we used to see. So her head is very big and her body is small. Like, she's so cute. And even the environment, the drawing of the environment, like, is very flat. I know most all of the anime, it's 2D.
2D, like,
yeah, but it's very flat 2D. It's different than the shonen or the other types. Like, even if seinen, they put more details on the story as story writing. Even the drawings, it's more into realistic, or there is more feelings on it, more details for the place, for the character, even for their clothes or the way they move or talk. So this is the difference. But there is one thing, we must put it all in the stories, the 4 elements of writing manga. It's different than comics. It's different than any novel, graphic novel. We call it, I do remember our chief editor, he'll teach me that. So the Kishōtenketsu. I will translate that. It's Japanese.
Okay, please.
Ki is like the beginning or the introduction of the story. You must have that so the reader can know like who's the main character, who's his friends or enemies, what the environment, the time, the place. That's the key. Show is like the development of the story. It takes most the long pages. So it's
Okay.
we see this the protagonist, like where he's from, who's doing, what he's doing, what his goals. We have to know about the again. We always say, like, when you read the manga, we have to know about the protagonist in the first 5 pages, so we can tell who is he or she, what age, what place, their experience, or even their character. Then we have the 10 moment. This one is the most important thing in the manga story. It's like the twist or the plot twist, or the moment like the reader say, like, wow, I didn't expect that. Then the kitsu, like the ending, we call it al-hulul, يعني not only the ending, like what's
Happened at the end?
what's happened in the end.
Okay.
Then, but you have to make it like this in all the type of the manga, the 5 types or any type of the manga. So at each chapter, at the ending, you have to want the reader to read more. Like, oof, I didn't accept that. I want to see. I cannot wait until the next chapters comes up.
Okay. So let me again.
Kishōtenketsu.
Kishōtenketsu. Yeah,
Okay.
3 times. Good.
Beginning, development, twist, and the ending.
Okay, but that doesn't mean that it has to be in each and every chapter, correct?
No, it has to be.
In each and every chapter.
Yes. That's how you can make the readers once more. But it's the most important. In the first chapter, it have to be like very obvious to the audience. In the other chapters, of course you have to write it down, but it's not as the first chapter or as the one-shot chapter. Because
Okay.
this is the one, like, you have this is the one what says, like, if the audience wants to read more or not.
Okay. So going back to a point we just mentioned, that this 4 key things that you just mentioned is what differentiates manga from different comics,
Yes,
so to
exactly.
speak. Now, my question is that don't other comics, like American comics, different countries' comics, don't they have that one way or the other, or they don't share the same way?
Not the same way. This Kishōtenketsu, it's only specific for manga.
Okay.
Even the comics, they always ask, like, everyone asks, like, what's the difference? They, like, if any person, like regular person, don't read manga comics, like, oh, it's the same manga comics, it's all cartoons, it's all drawings. No, there is a huge difference. Not only from the story structure, even from the drawing style and the character and everything.
One of the key that you just mentioned, and I'm speaking because I'm a person who reads manga a bit, the twist. So Kishō, the third.
10. Yes,
Oh,
that's the most important.
That's the twist.
We always see it as a chart. It starts like from this, then this is the 10 moments.
Yes.
The most
The peak.
Yeah. Then we go to the ending.
Okay, so my question is this. Because in some manga, I'm just going to give an example. Maybe some listeners would recognize that example. And it's one of the mangas that, okay, I don't recommend everyone to read it, but I'm just saying that it's an example, which is Berserk. One of the mangas that, okay, I did read and I did enjoy, like, reading, even though one of my friends actually told me about the manga. I didn't, at first I didn't want to read it, then I read it. But as you mentioned, they give me an introduction to the protagonists. And at a certain point, after maybe 80 chapters, they reached to a point where it made a twist that changed the manga's direction completely. Is that the twist that you're talking about?
Yeah,
or?
the 10 moments, they call it. Usually it's in each chapter, but I didn't read the Berserk, only the first volume, so I cannot say, but I think you're speaking about one of the chapters.
Yes.
This happens. Yeah, that's also one of the things that makes manga special than the other storytelling or comics or other type of stories.
From your and what was your first experience in creating manga? Which type did you first create as a mangaka?
Okay, that was a long time ago. I was in high school, maybe. So I used to watch the anime, which was dubbed in Arabic. I didn't know that was called anime. Like, everyone was watching it in the 90s. Sally, Lady Oscar, Sandy Bell. So I was into shoujo. You know, shoujo is the manga for the girls, or even the anime for the girls with their big eyes and this shiny hair and the kawaii stuff.
Yes.
So when I made, like, the first story, it was the same genre as shoujo. Like, there is a girl in high school, which is the protagonist, and their friend, la la la. So it was just a small manga I did. I don't know if I'm still having
D-
these
d-
drawings or not. I wish I could find it now.
do you have the names and such, or just like drawings and that's it?
N-
Doodling. All right.
no, it was a story. I even
Mhm.
had like the panels and the
Oh,
bubble
everything.
talk and stuff.
Okay,
Even the
okay.
pages was too small. Like I was trying to make the same pages as the tankoban. Like usually it's like A5
Uh-huh.
size.
Okay.
So I don't actually remember
Okay.
the names, but I do remember that I made this one when I was in high school.
hmm And there's one thing. So again, all these manga, comics, and everything, they all try to tell a story to the
Yes.
audience. Now, my question is this: as a mangaka and an artist, do you believe that each and every artist or a mangaka or name it whatever should be a great storyteller? Or some people, okay, yes, I have the art, I have the skills, but I don't know how to tell a story. Do you find this happening or not necessarily?
Okay, as I said before, but I will explain more. A mangaka, it's usually called for a writer or an artist, or maybe one person can do the writing and the drawings on the same time.
Mhm.
So, of course, if you want a great story, you have to be a great storyteller, but maybe you can start with something like simple, not like that great idea, or you're waiting for this whole thing like to do it, then maybe you will never or ever start. So you can start with something simple or anything that you can do, or you can find it catchy, or you have a message you want to reach for your audience, but it doesn't have to be a great. So not every first story must be great, but you can at least start. Or maybe you are a great storyteller, but you are not a great artist, or you're not an artist at all, but you can collaborate with another artist can help. And even the artists, if they're doing their own manga, they must have an assistant. You cannot do the whole thing. It will be okay. You can do if he is so talented, so and he or she can make the backgrounds and the drawing and inking and everything, but have an assistant will make it easier and faster to make.
Okay. And here's something that I did, let's say, and I believe you've seen it one way or the other. Where, for example, a mangaka or an anime or whatever kind of art it is, people, the audience itself that's directed to it, they read it from a different perspective than the artist himself. Like, for example, a manga has been released, and when the people see it, they find, like, for example, that the plot twist didn't make sense, or that the peak or the introduction of the protagonist of the protagonist didn't align the whole didn't align at all. While the artist himself, he sees it that yes, no, everything makes sense and everything makes a great story. On that perspective, like you have the artist versus the audience,
Mm.
where each and everyone have their own idea. When you face that kind of thing, where do you stand? Is it like it's all about the artist and how he sees it, or the audience and how they take it?
Okay, that's a great question. First, you have to put, as a mangaka, writer, or an artist, you have to put yourself in a place of the reader. If you want to make something even not sense, at least everyone can understand it, because this manga, you're not doing it for yourself, you're doing for the reader. So they must read it and find it easily, not like complicated or difficult to understand. Maybe there is a twist we don't understand, but at the end of the chapter or the story, like, we have this moment. Okay, now I see. So you have to put yourself in the place of the reader. So you make these stories for the readers, not for your own.
Don't you think that? But some artists and some people say that okay, I do these stories or these kind of things for my own or for a niche kind of people. Like some example, some kinds of art, some manga. I'll just give an example since we're talking about manga and so. Have you ever read Monster?
No, but I've heard about it, but I didn't read it.
Yeah, in a sense, but it's a purely kind of a psychological manga slash anime, and some people, including myself, I would understand. Like for example, I felt okay. I felt it's good, and I also understand why some people would say, "What is this?" So, but again, the writer or the mangaka himself has this vision. So, don't you think that some artists do these things for themselves and they say, okay, you like it, it's good. You don't like it, it's fine. Should an artist have that kind of mentality?
Yeah, it's okay. That's normal. Like even sometimes the type of the art, or not the type, like uh even the characters, how it looks like, this is how the artists do their drawing. It doesn't must everyone like it. Like some people would like this type of art, but some people not. So it depends. Like it's not for all genre. Like even like I say, first you have to make a specific. اوكي I'll switch in Arabic. لازم تحدد جمهورك، يعني اول شيء كمانجاكا او ككاتب او رسام انت من البدايه محدد جمهورك، واكيد مثلا ما راح تعجب ذائقه الكل، هذا شيء اساسي لازم تعرفه، يعني حتى مش كنوعيه قصه، لا حتى كشكل الرسمات والشخصيات. يمكن تكون شكل الرسمات مثلا في ناس يشوفوها حلوه بس في ناس مثلا تشوفها غير جميله. مثال let's say everyone who has watched Slam Dunk on Space Tune, we were young.
Yes.
At first, I didn't like the drawing, like it's so realistic. I didn't like it. But after that, the story and even the protagonist, Hassan, he was like so. I'm sorry to say that he was too stupid and clumsy, but he made me laugh. So I started to like the story. So مش لازم تعجب كل الناس، مش كل الأذواق. يعني أهم شيء خلاص إذا عجبتهم ولا.
But if we talk about, let's say, if we're going to go throughout different examples and different kinds of art, a lot of these, let's say, things that were a hit and reached millions of people and were adored by millions of people face a lot of struggles. So we talk about, for example, Harry Potter. We talk about the struggles. A lot of people rejected her and they didn't want her, and then that story became a hit. And for example, other mangas or other kinds of art or stories or novels or so on and so forth. But again, it was about the idea of that artist believed strongly on what he was doing. Even though, regardless of what the audience, like, let's say, thought or the publishers thought, he said that this story needs to be published, this story needs to be heard. So I'm talking about that kind of mentality, that it's not about what you as an audience like, it's about what I'm trying to say to you. Should that mentality be there? It's not just necessarily about understanding the audience themselves.
Yes, of course. But as we said, not everyone must like it or not. But we must have this point. Like you must make the reader understand what do you want to say or what do you want to read.
So should be persistent. So should artists be persistent?
Not just the artist, the whole mangaka, the owner of the story, the writer or the author. So not the artist. If he was the artist and the writer, yes. But the owner of the story, the author, yes.
She should be persistent.
Yes, but you have to listen to your manga editor. So sometimes the manga editor helps you like how to make the story better. Because I know some of writer or the author of the manga like have this vision or idea and they only want this. No, I don't want to change anything. Okay, this is not good. This is kind of bad. Like, okay, we are trying to help you to make this story better or to make it as a manga or to reach the audience. Or we want, there is always a thing like the reader must feel related to the story or the protagonist or even like other of the character.
Okay. Could you please like elaborate more on that? I'm interested. So for example, person X, he wants to create a story. He has a script of a story, specific story, and he goes to you as a manga artist. This is my story. What do you as a manga artist see in that script, in that story, and say, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we need to change and do something about it? What do you see, or what are the criteria on that regard?
Okay, let me explain something. The manga artist don't edit the story. He just help to create that imagination of the writer and put it down all in the story as character or layout or background. And he might or she like give some ideas. But the manga editor, which helps the mangaka to put the 4 elements and to make the story even better, or as you said, like related, or even if the publisher have like their own message they want to reach to the readers. So the manga editor who's helping this story. But not all the stories must be the same. Some writers as you said like عنيدين أو مؤلفين معاندين فيبغوا نفس الفكرة حقتهم بس أحيانا ما تنفع as a manga يعني. they must do some edit or لازم يصير في تنازلات مثلا عشان تناسب مثلا طابع المانجا.
What doesn't apply to being a manga? So what things that you say, okay, this shouldn't be involved in a manga, this yes can be involved. What are the things that you remove based on what?
It depends on the story, but as we said, every chapter must have the 4 elements, and the main character should be like related to any normal person. The reader must be related to the protagonist. Like when you read a story, you don't want to read something like unrealistic, even if it's
Okay.
sci-fi or even if it's some kind of stories. Not really, but there must be some reality on the character.
Okay. So, for example, and correct me if I'm wrong. So, if I'm bringing you a script, and the manga can you have the manga editor, and for example, the character development didn't make that much sense.
Yes.
You would say no, something needs to happen.
Yeah, you must
Or-
do some changes so we can make the story published as a manga.
Okay. So, other than that, then why sometimes it happens where the reader might have a take on the manga that okay, some things don't add up. So this is going back to the manga editor or don't go back to the writer. When that glitch happens, who's responsible?
Actually, the writer, but with the help with the manga editor. But have to get back to the owner of the story, like the author or the writer.
Okay. Because and how do you see as a mangaka or an artist, how do you determine that this thing makes sense or doesn't? Does it have to be 100% realistic, or is it depending on the world that this manga lives on? So, for example, we're talking about let's give an example. You have two mangas that where you have a one-man show. You have, for example, Solo Leveling and One Punch Man, where the protagonist is one who beats everyone and he has to win all the time. So, on that regard, does it mean that if there's a huge character development in a short time notice, it makes sense because these are the world parameters, or you can look at it as a manga and say, no, you know what, it doesn't make sense in general, or just are the parameters on this manga world?
And actually, I watched some of the Solo Leveling, the first episodes, like 4 or 5. Okay, it backs to the manga world, so
Okay.
we have to get back to the manga world. But as you said, some are not like realistic or ما هي
Fantasy.
منطقية. أيوة.
Fantasy.
Fantasy. Yeah. So it depends on the story, not the realistic world, because not all the manga are reality.
Makes sense. I have also one question regarding the history of manga itself. So I'm not sure what was the reason where now there's a huge, let's say, a manga type that's going on. Like there's a lot of shonen,
Mhm.
a lot of shonen happening.
The
right
most
now.
popular.
Most
Yes.
popular. But when you go back to the 80s, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, mecha sci-fi was more popular. What's these age gaps when it comes to manga specifically and the art of manga? Why did that happen?
Okay, let's get back to the history. As manga started, or the manga known, or it comes more popular after the World War II. We say it's like in the 20th century, maybe like at 1945. Most of the stories all like talks about the superheroes and how they fighting the evil. They don't like the war. They don't like the death. So we started with the mecha. The one actually who started that, Osamu Tezuka. They call him the godfather of manga, which he did Astro Boy.
Yes.
It was translated in Arabic as Fata Dharra. I think it was dubbed, and he also made this White Kimba, الليث الأبيض.
Correct me if I'm wrong, is the one that they created Simba from.
Exactly.
Correct.
So he was the creator of that. So it all started as the 80s and the 90s. But he's the one who started this, the boy as a robot, and he was like fighting the evil. He was like the cute superhero. So after that, all the mecha like Grandizer, Mazinger, we've all watched that in our childhood. And then was what else? Akira, I guess, and then Evangelion. So it all started like they have this. There is okay. I know it's maybe there is small difference between, or there is a huge difference, but there is always this like they are superheroes or they are heroes. They are fighting the evil. They want to protect everyone. So this is how it started. So maybe then it becomes difference. Like there is these stories difference, or we can say it depends. Like اوكي let's start in Arabic. كيف مثلا الان مثلا ايش الشيء اللي بيطلع ترند او هبه مثلا
Yes.
ممكن يصير منه. فهذيك الحقبه والفتره زي ما قلنا كارهين الحرب، ففكره الابطال محاربه الشر وغيره، وطلعت وصار منها مره كثير.
About
بس صار في
evil versus
اختلاف يعني.
good. Evil versus good.
ايوه فبعدين حتى بعدين مثلا دراغون بول then ناروتو ون بيس في برضه شونن but there is difference now يعني each time each timeline there becomes like a new type of anime, then everyone like doing the same. If you feel, I don't
So,
know, this is
so
how.
didn't that depend on the culture or the culture change in Japan itself?
Yes,
In
exactly.
that sense.
Hmm.
So, and now I want to know, and even a lot of people were saying that manga in Japan is a different, very, very different world. So, as a consumer, outsider consumer, yes, we go to these websites where they take the episode and they translate it in
Yeah.
anime, and then we watch it. But it was the original idea. The whole thing became from the Japanese culture. Now, as you mentioned, in Japan, first of all, came out of World War II.
Mhm.
So yes, it was very different in that perspective. And then Japan went to that technological advancement. Then how did they change from this idea going back to the shonen with the Bleach, One Piece, and that? What made that switch, that change?
That's a question I don't have an answer for it. To be honest.
But then it was very, very popular in that regard. What do you think
Exactly.
these things made, these things like One Piece, Naruto, what made them so popular?
I think the protagonist, because like each person or the protagonist, he himself, like most of them are, they are males. They have this goal, like I want to be the best. I want to be superpower and save everyone. I want to protect my beloved one, stuff. So they keep fighting and they keep development. So that's why. And as we said, the most important or what makes this story popular, how character development goes, and how the readers can feel like related, like, oh, I like him, I want to be as good as him, like he's my idol or she's my idol.
Okay. Okay, but here's my question. And you, right now, you are uh, a mangaka and as well as a mother. How do you feel when it comes to the idea of manga and finding the suitable manga for children to read? And you, as a manga editor yourself, how is that process? How do you create a story for example, as a manga Arabiya? How do you create stories for kids at the moment? Like me personally, when I'm from the Space Tune generation. We loved Space Tune so much, and I have to give credits to Marcus Zahra. They really put and they really, let's say, planted some virtues within us that we still live by today. Now, I'm not sure. Is it difficult when it comes to writing a story, especially for kids? Because yes, when I go, for example, in the library and I watch like a kid's story, it's very simplistic. Like I open up like a guy who's sad, he doesn't play with his friend, then his friends come along, end of story, in like 10 pages. So is it really that, is it difficult, or is it something that's very psychologically sensitive when it comes to writing a story for kids, a manga or a comic, or regardless? How is it affecting psychologically?
Of course, it's kind of sensitive, but as any writer or mangaka, you must know who's your audience first before creating or writing down anything. Like if you are writing this for kids, so you have to say specifically this type is Kodomo Moko, or as a shortcut as a Kodomo. So you're gonna write down the story, like as you said, like the place, the timing. The environment, you have to be like very specific, and it's not that difficult, also not that easy, but you have to know this for kids and like which ages exactly. Like if it's from like let's say age of 10 and less, or 5 or less, so like preschool, after school. And as a mother, of course, I have to check out like if the story is like suitable for my daughter, like she's 8 now, like, or not. So is it like easy, even like choosing the conversation between the character, it must be like very simple, very clear, like it's not, doesn't have like some complicated words or conversation. So it's not easy, but also not that difficult. It's different than writing down for like let's say teenagers or adults. So you have to be specific, which is who's your audience and what's the message from that story.
Okay.
Even sorry, the art, even as we said, like it's very different from drawing for adults or for teenagers, because the drawings will be very simple and cute and very catchy. So
Mhm.
it's not that easy. Also, you have like to catch the eyes of the kids. Like, oh, mommy, I like this story. Can you buy it for me? So
Is it easy to attract kids or adults more?
not easy, both. No.
Oh,
But maybe for the kids, it's easy with the colors or like some tricks you do with the characters. Like you make this character like, oh, this character is looking at you, like buy me or take me, please.
okay. And so, but I believe manga is mostly black and white.
You mean the drawings?
The drawings, it's black and white, right?
Yes, not colored. But there is some manga are colored for the kids. Not all, some.
Oh, colored because they want to give that attention.
Yes,
grab the
exactly.
attention. And also, there's a case study that I want to talk to you about, which is your story. The story that I believe won the third place in Japan.
Mm.
So could you please tell me more about that story and how it reached to that level? And first of all, congratulations.
Thank you.
So much. So please tell me about the background of that story, of how it came into life and how it reached that level.
Okay, the story name is Taif, which is Spectrum. It was published in Manga Arabia magazine for kids. So I was the author and the writer for the story, collaborating with the artist Ahlam. She's from Tunis. So yeah, I made it as a one shot for the magazine. So it talks about the little protagonist, which her name Lena. She's a little girl. She's at 4. Like we first see like how she lived happily with her family. Everything was normal, but then at when she became 4 years old, there is a monster which is appears in her life, and he was giving her like orders, but no one can see that monster. Just only her, like her parents or her friends. So this monster, which is yeah, we can say like it's the picture of the spectrum. You know, the kids with spectrum, they do some specific thing, like they don't have eye contact, they repeat some words and socializing not that much. So this monster was giving these orders to the kid, like he was like closing her ears when someone calling her. He was like, okay, do some circles, and the girl should do circles. Or when she was in a party, like she grabbed some toys from the kids and make like everyone think like this kid is not normal. Then after her parents decide to take her to a doctor, they told them like she has a spectrum, which is طيف توحد, and they didn't accept that at first, especially with the mother. Like we were showing some reality, like the mother was in a shock, like everyone's she was so mad and she was crying. She tried to hit her, but the father stopped her. Like she was mad because everyone was saying bad things about her daughter, until one day she like decided like I cannot take this anymore, I will just leave. Then her daughter, she was witnessing that moment, like her mother is going to leave. She said like to the master, no, I cannot play with you anymore. And the master said like, okay, but I will stay with you, and I cannot leave you. Then like she hold her mother like, mommy, don't go. So there is this 10 moment, like then the mother, she was in a shock, like what did you say? Like that moment her daughter talked to her and she was having eye contact. And then we were showing like the parents accepted their daughter's situation. They took her to specialists. She's starting to get it better. We know that spectrum or any type of spectrum or autism don't goes away, but it gets better with not taking medicine. We call it العلاج النمائي أو التطور، التدخل العلاجي هذا.
Development medicine.
Yes, so the girls, this girl Lena, she gets better until they have that ending, and her family and her parents were happy with her. So yeah, I know that was like most of the reader when they read the story, like they have some of them like they cried or like they have tears, like oh we want this as a serious. No, it's just one shot, and there is a message from that work to accept the kids with this. They call it الأمراض أو الحالات النمائية.
And you won third place at which competition?
Manga award. They call it the Manga International Award. جائزة المانجا
دولية
العالمية.
عالمية.
الناس اللي تشارك في المسابقة خارج اليابان.
So the competition is for non-Japanese.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, for people. Okay, so it's about spreading the culture of manga across the world.
Exactly.
Okay. Now you said something that's quite intrigued me to ask. When it comes to arts, talk about manga, stories, and so on and so forth. Do you feel it's stronger when the person himself is reflecting a true situation that he has lived? So, for example, if I'm a person who's speaking of losing a loved one, and I'm writing a manga or drawing a manga about losing a loved one, and I haven't been through that. And another one was also drawing the same thing about losing a loved one, and he has lost a loved one. But even though let's say I've done all the four principles, which I forgot to be honest.
The Kishōtenketsu.
So, and he hasn't followed them very much. Wouldn't his story be more genuine than mine when it comes, or more stronger than mine in that sense, or not really?
Not really. It depends on the storyteller or on the writer. If he's like talented enough to make the reader wants to read more, or to make the reader feel more related, that means he's a good writer. But having a story that's related from real life, or from a situation you've been there, as you said, it will make it like easier maybe. So they even say like everyone like who published the first story, usually it's more personal. So yeah, that was my first manga. Actually, I did some drawing of the manga before, like when I was in college, but it was all like for publisher house, and they have their own writing, so it was very simple. But this Spectrum, it was the first one, like I write it down. I was an author for it, so yeah, it has a story from my life. Actually, it was kind of personal.
Your inspiration was personal at that
Yes.
time. So, and let's say if this story was only written, not put through manga, wouldn't it have the same impact or no?
I cannot tell. You mean as if I write it down as like a novel, or
Yes, something like that. Would it have the same impact?
I cannot tell because I haven't write a story or a novel before. So as I said, it depends on how creative the writer is. If he's like smart enough, or can make the readers feel like more related, or feel like we like the story. So it depends on them. So I cannot tell until
because and I believe you've been through that as well. You have different types of people, the visuals, you have the hearing.
Mhm.
So how do you kind of relate when it comes to art wise? How do you, let's say, grab the attention of the people who only listen, or only, let's say, ناس سمعيين او سمعين والبصريين.
والبصري
Yes.
والحسي.
So how do you, okay, so visuals, yes, visuals are there, but when it comes to the people who listen or people who feel, how do you grab their attention as an artist or a manga artist?
As a manga artist, not only the drawings, even the writings is important. So some people think like manga, it's only drawings. If you draw like cute characters, or if you were working with a creative artist, you will like catch more readers. But it's not. Okay, let's say I always put an example for One Piece. For me, it's okay. I didn't read it. I only watched some episode. It's not really my favorite. But when I first saw it, like these drawings, I'm sorry for Oda Sensei, please. I'm very sorry. It was like, this is an ugly drawings. Like, why Luffy have this big mouth and small nose? He looks so dumb. For me, it wasn't that catchy. But the story was so catchy, and it's very popular. It's like the most popular manga, and they reach even like 1,000 and something chapters.
Yes.
Doesn't have to be like the great drawings. It's about the great story.
Okay. So, but at the same time, it does give it, like, let's say, the edge. Like, for example, in some drawings, I'll just give an example, correct me if I'm wrong. Have you ever read Hunter x Hunter?
I've watched the anime, like from Space One.
I watched both, the old and the new. But when I read the manga, no, I don't want to read it because the art was not that good. The anime made it better. So does that usually happen? Because some situations where when you read a manga and it has a lot of readings, a lot of narration, the narrator always speaks a lot of words, and the art is not very catchy, you might close it. You know what? Let's put it aside. And then when I watch the anime, it's like, wow, it's amazing. So,
but the story is the same. There is not that huge difference between the manga and anime. So
yes.
It's always the same story. But the story must be great. Even like some drawings are not that great, but if the story is great and catchy, you will even continue reading, even if the drawings were ugly.
Okay, but in that situation, let me ask you this: would you prefer, as a reader, and you can also put your art's mind into it, an average story but with great drawing, or a great story with an average slash not very well done drawing?
It's better to be like equal, maybe, but the great story is the most important. Okay, let me give you an example. Like, as
Please.
I said before, like each manga story usually start as a one shot, like قصة من فصل واحد. So even the most popular manga. So I've searched for Attack on Titan, the first, not the first chapter, as a one shot, and I've already read the whole manga series and the anime. So I was in shock. The drawing was very ugly. I even say sorry for the mangaka. I'm very sorry, but it was terribly ugly. Like, no way. Even the different story was different. There was no Eren, no Mikasa, no the other titans. So like, are you serious? Like the drawing, the story, but the same concept with the titans. But here is the role of the manga editor. Like I think the publisher, manga house. I'm not sure which one was for Attack on
Madhouse was
Titan.
was the studio for that made the
Yeah,
manga.
but the manga editor, I think he liked the story, or he or she like, and the story was great. Okay, let's do some difference. Let's do some edits. See, when you asked me even before, like if someone is have the story and they want to make it published, but not the fit as a manga. So there is the role of the manga editor, which is help the mangaka to make it better. So we can see that now how Attack on Titan is very popular with the difference with the story and the art. Even the manga, like the chapters, it wasn't that great. And if for me, as first when I heard about Attack on Titan as an anime, the first season, I watched it all. Like then I like it. Then I searched for the manga. Like I want to know what happened next after that wall with the small face of the Titan.
Mm-hmm.
I think everyone remember. But then, like, why is the drawing isn't that much good? So, as you said, even as Hunter x Hunter, the anime was more better from me, even like the drawings or the movement, the whole things. So, yeah, manga editor is very important to help that story improve better, drawing and writing.
Okay. What was the
So it's equal.
Okay. So what was the first manga you read and you liked the drawing? The first manga you read and you said, "Wow, the drawing is wow."
Oh wow, that was a long time ago. As first, I've only watched the dublaged anime, and then I knew about manga from some. Me and my cousin, we used to look for the pictures, but then she said like one of her friend, she used to travel and bring these manga, even it was in Japanese or Chinese. So there was a shoujo manga. I don't remember the story name. It wasn't that popular, but I do remember it was shoujo and like there's some imaginary stuff. Oh, actually, I do have Sailor Moon. Actually, that was okay. If I didn't know it's manga. I was very young, and we had this colored book. So I liked the drawings. I didn't know even this called Sailor Moon or manga. But then after I searched for that, I know this Sailor Moon was a shoujo and like witch's girl. Like they call it Maho shoujo.
What is it about?
Like any manga includes girls with magic power.
Oh, okay. It's like in Space Tune Doremi.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes,
Yes, they call it Maho shoujo. Yes.
Okay, so-
Doremi. Yeah.
Okay, what was that? What was the name of the
Sailor Moon.
Sailor Moon? And what's it about? A girl with magic and trying to
Yeah, it's
save the world?
the protagonist. She was very clumsy and cute. Like she had this big eyes with two ribbons, like very long golden hair. So she was even in high school, I guess. And then she discovered like there's some cats, and she was injured. She put some anyway. She helped her, and then this cat started talking to her like, "Oh, this cat is talking." Then she, okay, come with me. There is this evil in this world. You have this power. Go help them. Then. She translates. She her
Transforms.
transforms. Sorry, it is transformer, and her outfit change, and she become magic. And then her friends from high school comes and help her and stuff. So this is how it all started. So I do remember this is the first thing. Yani, it all started as childhood, but then I searched for it.
Talking about these kind of stories, I just like had a, and I want to hear your take on this. And again, I'm not like pointing at a certain manga, but do you think from a story perspective, is adding more elements to the story? When I see elements, I'm talking about places, characters, and more drama, mystery, whatever it is. Does it add to the story more, or does it make it more? I would say it's just about making it longer, adding that length to the story. Like for example, some stories, if we're talking about, like if we start dissecting them, you find it's one, two, three. That's it. But the writer or the artist add like 10 more elements, 20 more elements to just add length to the story. Now, from your perspective, is adding more elements good, great, or is just about adding length? تمطيط خلينا نقول. It's about just adding more to it. That's it.
No, it depends on the story. Not adding or removing elements make it better or not. So it depends on the story. But if this story or let's say this chapter needs this element, it's okay to put more. But adding more, it makes the reader more confused. So it depends on the story, like as we say, the place, the timing, even like the story structure. It depends. So it's not making it better or not. It depends on the story.
Okay, like for example, I'm just gonna give like some manga. We're talking about they've been like for like 10, 20, 30 years in the making. And when you dissect them, it's a very simple, like straightforward. Like character A wants to reach objective B, for example. But adding more elements, adding more chapters, adding more adventure. Now, in this regard, when we talk about this in this context, does it add more to the story? Does it make it more lucrative, or is just about making the rider, making the reader wants to read more? And let's be honest, and I would like to ask you that: is it just about like making more profit? That's okay. I want to keep this manga, keep this manga going in order to make more profit in that regard.
No, actually, we don't see this in manga. We see it more in anime.
Okay.
They call it actually the filler episode, which is very boring for me. Like I will skip this episode because it's very boring. I don't know why some of the studios they do this. Maybe they want to be like continuous, or the channels or the streaming, they ask you like to stream more. Maybe it depends, but we don't see this on manga. We see it more on anime, and they call it filler episodes. For me, as I'm a reader or someone who's watching it, it's boring, so I skip it.
But even when it comes to like manga, like some manga, like for example, I'll just give an example: One Piece, Naruto. They have a lot. They have a lot of chapters. While a lot of these chapters can, let's say, can be ignored because okay, the story is like you can compress that story to like a specific number of chapters. So that's what I mean. Do you think that making it longer adds more value to it, or not really?
Still, as I said, it depends. Actually, they call it story arcs or manga arcs. If it's relatable to the story and it will give something very important, like to the ending or to the character goals, maybe it's important. But some just fillers, they call it, just to fill it. As you know, Detective Conan, like how many episodes for now? For me, like, this is taking too long. I will just stop watching it. I'm not sure why, but if there is some arcs, story arcs, if it's relatable to the ending or to the character, or it has something important, I don't know. For me, as who's a reader or someone who wants to watch, I would watch it. But if it's just something like just to fill as filler, so nah, I'll just skip that. So it depends on maybe the manga house publisher or the manga studio, or as you say in Arabic, المخرج عاوز كده, just to make, as you said, more profit from it. So,
okay, so
we still say it depends.
No, because to be honest, in that sense, in that regard, I was gonna mention Conan. Thank you so much for bringing it up. In that regard, like yes, for me, I also, if we're gonna watch Conan, I'm gonna just watch like the episode where he and the black hand.
Yeah.
These are the.
We want to watch this. Everyone wants to know.
So yes, I do understand. Now, also, I'd like to take it from the global lens, talk about manga in general, going back to the local lens. I'd like to hear your perspective on the manga scene here in the kingdom. Where do you see it going? What are the current movements that are happening for the manga scene in the kingdom to make it, let's say, rich and solid?
We can see in the past of years, we have many manga stories is published, and even manga companies, just like Manga Arabia magazine, and also manga production, as they're producing an animation. So it becomes very popular. There is a huge audience for the manga and anime, and it becomes very rich. We have a lot of stories from our culture, from our kingdom. Even you can see like the environment, the buildings, even the characters with the Arabic features. So it becomes. And I'm really glad to see that it becomes very popular. Even the stories without publishing house, we see like people like solo, like they not only the publisher house, even like الافراد بينشروا
Individuals.
ايوه بينشروا their own manga by themselves.
Uh-huh.
So it becomes very popular, very rich, and I'm glad to see that because I'm one of those people who was like we were covered. We call it the otaku,
Yes.
people who like manga and anime. We were like all undercover because in my days in high school, like everyone were making fun. We was bullied like, oh, you drawing this for kids. Like, are you watching this? Like this all for kids. They don't know like there's some genres. So for now, like really glad what I'm seeing here, how manga and anime becomes popular and how the audience become very huge for it, and how it covers, as you said, from our culture, from our religion, and even like from our beloved kingdom, the cities, the environment, the character, everything.
So you were not surprised by the amount of, let's say, momentum for manga in the kingdom.
I was seeing it because, as you know, I made my master research about manga art. First, when I talked to my supervisors, I told her like I have this idea. I would like to make this master degree about manga. She really supported me. She said, "That's good. That's great. Let's do it in Arabic environment." For me, I was very influenced by the Japanese environment. She said like they already have. We don't want to make something for them. Let's make something for us. But the others, like doctors and teachers, they didn't accept the idea. They were in shock, like how we're gonna make the Japanese manga, which would have this Japanese features in Arabic. Like it's easy. I'm gonna make the girls wear abaya, the men with thobe. We put like our culture, the house, the Arabic coffee, all the stuff. So they were accepting that, and I start seeing like some like people like me, they're doing it with this. If you heard about Comic Con, it happens every year,
Yes.
like in Dubai and Abu Dhabi.
Yes.
So every year when I used to travel that and see, like I was seeing people in the artist LA like selling their own manga. So like wow, I've seen that. But now in Saudi Arabia, it's very popular. So everyone is enjoying reading and watching it.
And do you foresee that yes, we've already, let's say, stepped up to the global stage, but do you see that at a certain time, maybe in 5 years' time, the manga, the Arabic manga, so to speak, especially I believe with the support of Ministry of Culture, I believe Ministry of Culture also involved in this one way or the other.
Some of the project, yes.
Yes. Do you think that we will like reach to that level of global recognition in manga? That's okay. Yes,
Inshallah.
that's already manga.
Inshallah, why not?
Why not? There's also another part of it, and I'd like to hear more about that. Now, as much as I know, correct me if I'm wrong, that the manga is the most popular at the moment. There's also other comic parts within East Asia. Talking about the Korean manhwa, for example, which is gaining a lot of popularity.
Yes.
What is the difference between, like, example, manhwa and manga in that regard?
There is a difference, not that huge, but there is a difference. Manhwa, it's most readable in application, your phone or an iPad. And even when you read, it's not like pages and you flip that page. No, you're going to read it like by scrolling down. But you can tell, even if scrolling down, like you can see how, let me explain this in Arabic. تسلسل الأحداث مرتب حتى لو إنها ورا بعض التصفح بس مرتبة الأحداث يعني تحس إن الصفحات مرتبطة
Organized.
organized, yeah, not by flipping the page.
Okay.
But in manga, there is different. By flipping the page, you have to read it from right to left and from up to down, and even let's say the illustration is different. Manhwa, it's all colored.
Yes.
Manga black and white, but the drawings and the character design is different. But there is a similarity of the characters, maybe somehow.
Because now, as far as I know, that manhwa is gaining a huge popularity worldwide. Like, for example, Solo Leveling, and which has created
Yeah,
a
I've
huge.
seen, as I said, a few episodes.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's a manhwa, not a manga,
Mhm.
and some anime production houses have taken it and produced the
As an
anime, which has
anime.
created was created as a big hit.
Mhm.
So, do you foresee that here in the kingdom that we might have, let's say, our own adaptation of
Manhwa.
manhwa or the Chinese? There's also Chinese version of something.
Yeah, there is also the Japanese. What do they call it?
Manhwa as well, or but with a different spelling, I believe.
Not manhwa. No, actually, there is a different.
And Chinese one, something. There's a
I've
difference.
searched that before, but it's not manhwa. It's different. But there is this also Japanese comics.
In a sense, but it's like
Yeah.
it's Chinese.
Yeah.
I don't know that. But do you foresee that there will be Saudi manhwa, or you're gonna stick to manga for now?
ما استبعد صراحة يعني أحس ممكن يطلع يصير.
It might happen.
It might happen. Yes, exactly.
Do you
ما
have?
في شيء مستحيل.
But now your concentration in manga Arabia, manga production is mainly about focusing on manga itself.
Manga and anime, yes.
And here's my question now: where do people start? Like, for example, me or someone who's in his 20 or he's still beginning in his age. He doesn't have the talent to draw or to know more about manga, or someone who's still drawing. How do they foster that talent? Does it begin in the house, or do you have certain courses or references for someone to start learning more about manga and foster that talent?
First, before you start, you must be a manga reader. You cannot do a manga or start without reading manga. You have to read like in all genre, like not only one type or your favorite type. Even if you don't like the other type, you have to read all. So you have this your own like library in your head. Like,
Okay.
so you must be a reader. Let's say, okay, in Japan they have this actual structure. Like after you're being a reader, you might go to manga school or you study manga, like manga in some art college if they have manga sections. And also you have to be an assistant for a mangaka if you want to start to read, like for helping, like doing the backgrounds or coloring, inking. And then like you, after you have your own idea, like you have to write it down and you ask manga editor until you develop that idea. But you must be like study or be a manga helper. And of course you have read manga before, because now I've seen like even talked to some people like, I have this great idea. I read a lot of novels or riwayat or qisas and I want to write write down a manga story. Okay, that's great. Which manga did you read? Like never. How do you want to write down a manga? Oh, just talent. No, it's not just like you have to read a lot of manga. And you start like, even if you are not an artist, you're only a writer, you must read a lot of manga.
Okay. Now, this is from, let's say, a knowledge perspective. Now, from a talent perspective, do you foresee that, or how do you recognize that he or she at a young age have the ability to be a great artist or a mangaka? What specific features that you have in mind that once you see it, yes, this he or she have that ability to be a great mangaka or an artist?
Okay, that's a great question. At first, you have to be like an artist or a talented at art and try to draw. Of course, you're not gonna draw always from your imagination. You must have this visuality of the manga. Okay, even if you read or see a lot of manga or watch a lot of anime, you will start trying to draw. As I started like, okay, I like to watch a lot of anime, read a lot of manga. I try first to make a fan art. Fan art is like to draw your favorite character from your favorite manga or anime until you become very good at it and you do your own. They said OC like original character, like to make your own original character and put a story for it and environment and everything. And if you have some mangaka in your family or your friend that you want to become assistant, go there. That will help a lot. So as a talent, as a manga artist, you must first, as I said, الحصيلة البصرية, visuality.
Visuality.
Be a talented on drawing, art, anything. Includes the character development, even if backgrounds and inking, painting, everything. And then you can make your own story, inshallah, one day. But it starts as a talent and you have to insist. And you have to develop that drawing.
Okay. At what age specifically do you say that he has that talent or not? Like, for example, I'm just going to give مفارقة تشبيه with the difference of field. When it comes to, for example, football, some people call it soccer, it's football, that at like the age of 5, 6. He started like dribbling with the
Mhm.
ball. He started kicking the ball. Then okay, you say okay, this guy has potential to reach like certain heights. When it comes to drawing and manga specifically, at what age would you say okay, yes, he or she has a thing with the brush or the drawing specifically, or doesn't
Uh,
just happen?
There is no specific age, but you can tell this person is a talented. Sometimes at not only on a very early age. Sometimes you find someone at an old age, then wow, he's a talent, but he wasn't talent as a kid. But now he's a talent, so there is no specific age.
Some artists, and I'm not gonna say myself an artist. I'm not an artist at all, but I struggle when it comes to drawing some, let's say, some shapes, like for example, a rectangular, a circle. So, do let's say artists need to have these things nailed to perfection, drawing a head or drawing a circle or a rectangular, or it's fine as long as the message gets across.
Oh no, it doesn't have to be a perfect. Yani perfection will make artists يعني get tired or he might quit or she quit. So as long it's obvious يعني you can tell like this is a face, this is a body and تكون الرسمة شخصية واضحة مش معاقة.
Okay. What makes some artists draw things in a let's say way that makes the reader feel disturbed? Like some artists, when you see their art or their manga in general, some let's say horror manga, I would consider like this horror manga. When you see it, you feel a bit disturbed. Like some people actually feel a bit. There's kind of the element of scariness. There's the element of violence, but something you feel it's a bit disturbed,
Uncomfortable, yes.
uncomfortable. Where does this come from?
It depends on the story type, but it's okay if this story genre is for adult as a seinen, and also it's like horror, thrill, or violence. Of course, it will be uncomfortable for readers or who someone watched that anime. So it's okay because this story it's like this. It must goes like this. I do remember. I don't remember. I remember some stories with this horrible scene or drawings. It makes really the reader uncomfortable, but it must go like this because this is how the story goes. So
Okay.
it's normal, يعني, but it depends on the genre, and the reader is responsible of what he is reading or watching. So
Okay. So assume that I'm an upcoming mangaka.
inshallah,
I'm someone who wants to.
inshallah, one day,
Inshallah. And I ask you for, let's say, give me a list of mangas to read as a reference, as a benchmark. When you say read these mangas, when you read them and you absorb these mangas, you would understand how you can craft a manga in a way. So I'm not asking you to give me like the perfect one. Give me like a list where you say manga number 1, 2, 3. These, if you read them, you would understand the idea of character development. If you read 3, 4, 5, you'd understand how you can make that twist. So, do you have a list of that kind, or not really?
there is a lot of lists, but for now, Kimetsu no Yaiba, Demon Slayer,
Demon Slayer.
as
Oh, wow.
the four elements of the Kishōtenketsu. If you
Why?
want to see that in the first chapter.
Okay.
Okay, it might be like some spoilers. Yeah, I'm sorry, but we must talk about that. But it's the first chapter in the first episode. We can see that elements. Like first, we see the protagonist, Tanjiro. Like he's a young man. Yeah, he's a young man. He's helping his family. His father died, and he only has his mother and brother and sisters. He was doing some work so he can give them like food and house and everything.
Okay.
But we can see that this environment he comes from, they talks about demons when his neighbors, he tells them like stay this night here if you might find some demons or face them because it's too late, just sleep here and then in the morning you can go see your family. After that he finds a horrible scene like all his family was eaten by a demon. Only one sister, she's still warm, so he thinks like she might still alive. When he tries to save her, suddenly she turns into a demon and she tries to eat him. But he can tell like she still have feelings, like she's not a full demon and not a full human. So we see like then he faced some demon slayer, and he tries to kill his sister, and he, of course, and a lot of other stuff and
Yes,
stuff.
stop.
Then, but we find like his sister, she was depending on him, so this is like not normal. So we can see like the goal, like he wants to save his sister because she's the only member from his family who didn't die. We see like he has a goal he wants to reach. He wants to become a demon slayer so he can kill all the demons and save his sister. So his sister, she might become a person one day. But we can see these elements in the first chapter and the other chapter. Okay, let's give another example for Naruto. You've watched Naruto. What was his goal?
His goal is to become a Hokage.
Exactly. So he has this goal from the first episode. We can tell like who is the protagonist, what his character type. He was like annoying kid. He was clumsy, stupid, everything. But he wants to become a Hokage, and everyone was laughing like he's the most stupid kid here. He even cannot go to the ninja school. But in Naruto Shippuden, I'm sorry, it's spoiler, the last episode. I'm sorry, he become what he wants. So
Yeah.
we see this character development.
Okay. So these two, you say that these give you the
Elements,
the four elements
that we
in-
must have in every chapter in manga
Okay.
or an anime in the episode, and the character development.
Okay. Now this is from a technical perspective, or the technicalities how a mangaka, like as a benchmark for him to read and to absorb that kind of knowledge.
Yes, exactly.
From a personal perspective, from a personal feature, what specific feature or a virtue should the mangaka have in order for him or her to produce the best manga? Is it patience? Is it persistence? Is it imagination? What exactly?
Oh, a lot of things. First, you must be a patient. Even if like you are doing both writing and drawing, or if you are only the writer or the artist, you must be passionate about your work. You must like, as I said, like if you want to do a manga or you want to become a mangaka, you must have read before a manga or watch an anime. You must love what you're doing. Of course, you're gonna need an assistant. You need help from a manga editor. Please listen to your manga editor because he knows what the best for the story. Even if someone like, okay, I've been or worked with some mangaka, they said like, this is my story. They insist, I don't want to change. Like, okay, please, you're doing this manga for the reader, not for your own self. Like, if you want to change, so this is for the best, so you can your story can be published or you can have more readers. So you have to listen to your manga editor. Also, you must make a protagonist or a heroine which very relatable for the reader, so they can feel like, oh, I feel. How would I describe this? يعني القارئ يصير يتعاطف مع البطل.
Feeling empathy towards
Yes,
them.
exactly. أو يحس إنه هو مثلا relatable. He feels relatable to it. Like, oh, I've been there before. I like this protagonist. I'm gonna read this manga. So it's most important about not just the story, the character, and you must make this protagonist have character development. It's very important, and to reach their goal at the end of the manga.
Okay. Now, from what you said, that kind of patience, one of these things I want to, let's say, tap into a bit more, one of these virtues. When should a mangaka or a storyteller kill his idea? So what I mean is, he created the idea, he believes in it so much, and for whatever reason, from your perspective, what are the reasons where you say, okay, this idea, I have to kill it. This character, I have to remove it. The story has to be redone from scratch.
Actually, I don't know. I've never been there before. No.
Really?
You mean the main character or like a side character?
No, you killed the whole idea. So you have this concept, you have this world, you have everything in mind. Then when you look at it, for whatever reason, it doesn't work. I have to kill the whole thing. I have to scramble it, throw it away.
Maybe if it was terrible, I'm not sure, or if it's إذا كانت الفكرة مكررة في منها كتير يعني راح خلي القارئ يمل.
So if it happens a lot, okay.
If it happens a lot, or if it's terrible, I'm not sure. I cannot tell. I've never been there before.
But you never killed any idea? Come on.
No, actually, I did, but not while I was working. But before, like when I was young, like I have this many ideas, but most of it was kind of stupid or from a teenager perspective.
So, no, because the thing is, like, for example, some creative, like, for example, I'll just give one example in that regard. Graphic designers. You might design like 10 logos and only one will be accepted, be approved. So from your perspective, when you, for example, you have a story, you have 10, let's say, you the 10 characters, you have to kill 5 of them. So how does this go?
As I said, it never happened before with an idea I wanted to publish. It happened when I was like a teenager or when I was younger. So I had like billion ideas, but I killed most of it. But while I was working on the manga industry and publishing it, maybe it happens maybe because the idea was يعني في مثلا أفكار مكررة كتير ما ضبطت أو المانجا إديتور ما وافق عليها so it happens.
Going back to what you just mentioned, that and this intrigued another question. What's the process of creating a manga character? So as you mentioned, it's not about before when you were, let's say, a teenager, it was more about the quantity. Yes, I'll create 10 characters, then I would, like, say, kill that many characters, and then I'll keep it at one. Now, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, it's a very well-oriented process to reach that specific good character. How does this process go to reach that character that lives on with the manga?
The character was more relatable to personal life. Maybe that's the character can be left or can be continuous. But as we said before, sometimes we kill the idea or we kill the character if it's was يعني إذا كانت مرة مكررة كثيرة، إذا ما كانت منطقية يعني، وإذا ما كانت تحمل نفس البروسيس أو العناصر الأربعة تبع المانجا الكيشوتينكتسو.
So it's all go back to like the 4 characters.
Yeah, and to the character relatable.
Okay, so in that regard, so what's the process? So for example, you say, let's go back, let's pick one of these 5 manga types. Let's say seinen, for example, or shonen, for example. I'm gonna make a manga shonen. I'm gonna create a protagonist. How do you come up with the story, the background, the name, the figure of the character itself, the height, the width? How does this come across to reach that? Okay, this is the one that we want to go with. How do you go through that?
First, you must, as I said also before, you have been read a lot of manga and known more about how the manga character development goes. So you must have this يكون عندك الحصيلة إنه كيف تكون بناء الشخصية وكيف شخصيات المانجا الأساسية عشان تنجح، عشان تكون مثلا محبب للجمهور أو القارئ يحس إنه مرتبط بهذه الشخصية.
So it's to be related to that story one way or the other.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, this is the first thing, and then you must put how the character development goes with the chapters. If the character he or she gonna reach their goal at the end of the chapter or at the end of the story, that means it goes right. But if it's not, or it goes different ways, sometimes the character development goes like تروح لمنحدر أكتر, which is normal also. Like okay, this is a spoiler, like Eren from Attack on Titan. At first we've seen it like he goes ups until like he wants to reach his goal, but then suddenly like there is a twist like we didn't see. He become like the villain, not the protagonist, but he did that for some reason, but he's still the protagonist. But we didn't see that. We didn't we didn't see that in the character.
He's the
we didn't see that. Sorry, in the manga. Yeah.
So he's a protagonist and antagonist at the same time in that regard.
Exactly. Yes.
So there's so for me to get this idea closer, I'm trying to get with an example, and I'd like to hear your perspective. So there's this very well-known game, God of War. Have you heard of it, God of War?
Yes, I've seen my brother and my husband. They played.
Yes, so you have the main character, which is Kratos. Okay, now Kratos has the physical outline, and one of his remarks is that the red mark that he has on his body. Before, the same character developer said the initial idea or the initial character outline we had is for him to have the marks in blue. The distinctive marks were in blue. At the last, like say 10 days before launching the game, he looked at it and he said, you know what? Blue doesn't work. Let's change it to red. And it became the mark of Kratos as a character that a lot of people recognize the character by his mark. As an artist, when it comes to these details, how do you view it? So when you see a character and you see like her eyes or his eyes and his outfit, and you say, "I want to change this. I want to change that." What goes through your mind? How does this go in comparison to this as a greatest example?
Okay, as a manga creator or as you are the artist and you are creating this character, there is a thing that's very important. You must make your character really like remarkable for the audience, especially from the outline. Okay, let's say Pokemon, we have Pikachu. If we see like the outline of Pikachu, everyone can see like this is Pikachu. We cannot, even if we don't see like the whole drawing, if we saw just the outline or the shadow, we can tell this is Pikachu or his friend, the protagonist, Ash. Or let's say Dragon Ball, we have Goku. If we see the outline, we can tell this is Goku. So you must make this character like very special and very what they call it, remarkable.
Remarkable.
Remarkable. So the audience can tell like this who this character from which anime or from which manga. So even like if you're making you're still like you're on the making of this manga before you publish, just draw the outline. If it's really special and remarkable to the audience, that means it goes right. But if it's very normal, even if the story is slice of life or like the daily life or high school, you must make this character remarkable or the outline remarkable so the audience can tell which this character.
What do you think of like when the character or the protagonist is very different from the entire world? Like for example, you have a character where the hair is white, the eyes are golden, and the skin is very white, and everyone around him is like normal, like you and me, for example. So does this sound more? Do the artists when they do that they want to like make the character more unique, or do they want to distinguish it from the rest of the world? How does this go?
Depends on the story and on how the mangaka, the author, like the owner of the idea, what he wants. Or as I said, المخرج عاوز كده او ايش المخرج ايش يبغى not المخرج عفوا the owner of this manga, like if you were both the artist and the mangaka, you want this because this world goes this way, or this is the protagonist and he or she like a special or different than the other characters. It depends on the story, so it's okay.
It's okay because sometimes it makes as an
I know.
audience like you're very different from the others. Why?
Yeah, I know it's nonsense, but المخرج عاوز كده.
But what do you think of the other way around? Like for example, it might be an exception, One Punch Man, where the protagonist is very normal. The outline is very normal, while the other characters are very well designed into something. Do you think that this is also like another way of doing it?
I guess I haven't read the manga or seen
One Punch-
the anime, not
One-
yet. I know
One
it's
Punch-
very popular.
One Punch
Yeah,
Man?
it's not
No,
that.
no.
It's not my type of anime, so it's okay. I didn't read it, but as a mangaka, I should read different stuff. But here's the thing: yeah, it's normal. So it depends on how the story goes or what's the mangaka wants the audience. Like he wants this manga goes this way, so audience like let me speak this on Arabic. يعني هو مثلا عنده فكرة معينة أو حابب يصمم
Specific idea,
الشخصيات
yes.
كده، فعشان حابب يوصل رسالة معينة أو أحيانا بدون رسالة بس كده إنه هذا ستايله في الرسم.
Style, okay. So, in general, when it comes to these things, what do you think? Do you always believe when it comes to the story-wise, it comes storytelling and all of that good people always have to win at the end?
No, you have to lose sometimes or most of the times until you have this development in your in the character or until you're gonna reach that goal.
No, I'm talking at the end.
At the end, no, I guess most of the story they're gonna win, but maybe we've seen some of the characters, maybe they didn't win or they die. Okay, I do remember that anime. It was from our childhood. Joe,
The boxer?
the boxer, he died at the last episode. That was really sad moment.
Huge spoilers, okay.
I'm sorry. There's a lot of spoilers. No, it's very old. We've seen that dubbed in Arabic.
Yes.
I'm not sure if he reached his goal or not. Even like the girl, she was with him. She told him like, "I love you. If you feel the same and stuff." He didn't answer that. I think he has the same feeling, but I don't know why. okay, we would kill the producer, because that moment it's really kills us. Like, why? She just said she loves him, and we all know like he loves her back, but he didn't say. And while he was fighting, then he said, and then he
Yes,
died.
innocent.
So not necessarily. I know that's a sad ending.
But in that case, do you think that because we've always been throughout our childhood, we always believe that okay, good people will prevail, they will win,
Yes.
and so now, and some people like in general, they say that when we were young, we always cheer for the, let's say, the good people.
Yes.
Yes, the good people against the villains. When you get older, you start to understand the villain.
Yes.
And now, how is he thinking? Now I understand why he is a villain.
Mhm.
So, as a mangaka, when you are writing the manga or the story or so on and so forth, and you're writing it for adults, do you take this into consideration that yes, when write an evil character, it's not necessarily he's pure evil. Something bad happened to him in
Yeah.
the past that broke him, that might even the reader might cheer him and say, yes, he has the right to do that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yes, it's better. Yes, I think we all seen that on the Joker, the movie. Okay, before we've seen the Joker movie, when we see Joker as a villain in Batman, we all hated him. But
Okay.
after, I don't, for my perspective, after I've seen the first movie of Joker, it was very depressed. It was very dark. I felt like I had this feelings like, how would I describe this? I had depression after I've seen that movie, but I felt sorry for him. Like, that's why.
The one with
the
Joaquin
one.
Phoenix.
Yes,
Yes.
the first one.
Yes.
But I felt sorry for him. تعاطفت معاه.
Okay, you felt empathy.
Yes.
Now, wouldn't that help? Like, let's say, help. I'm talking about us as human beings, reevaluate our ways of communication, reevaluate our ways of handling these virtues.
اوكي، ممكن اجاوب هنا بالعربي. هو يمكن فهمنا هذا الشيء لما كبرنا او لما صرنا نشوف وصار عندنا تطلع اكثر، وصار عندنا حصيله مثلا سواء من القراءه او المشاهده وزي كده.
Experience of life.
Yes, experience of life. فبالعكس as a mangaka, if you put this explanation or put these details for the reader, it might be a lot better.
So that's for each character. It's not just about a good guy beating up bad guy. It's more about you have this bad guy also has a story. He has a background.
But not from the beginning. Don't put spoiler. Make the reader wants to read more. So when you read, okay, let's say you have a manga with 100 chapters. So let's say in the 80 or the 90 chapters, we've seen like the history of this villain, and then like I feel empathy with him. So you want to read it, like to read more. So
then you cheer with him, and you want
but it's good for you, like to make the readers hate him at the beginning. Like, this guy is such a bad villain. He's like a rude person or whatever. You're gonna hate. It's good for you to make the readers hate him, but then you make the reader feel empathy with him.
So does that help with the manga, let's say, climax to reach that point where yes, this is the best, the peak of the manga?
I guess yes.
Okay.
If you have that, I guess, not all of the manga, but if you have that, if you put that in your manga, I guess it will be.
Okay, this would help. That
yes, it would help, yeah.
Would help a lot.
Not necessarily, but would help, and depends on the story. We also, it depends on the story genre.
The story and the audience, and it's
exactly, yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. And is there anything else that you want to add from the whole thing that you let's say? Is there anything you want to add? Anything you want to say? Please feel free to do so.
For all the mangakas, writers, and readers, if you have a passion for making a manga, read more, watch more, make you have your own library of manga and your own visuals of the characters. It will help you, and one day you can be like what they say, Oda Sensei, the maker of One Piece, inshallah.
Inshallah. So this is your golden advice.
Yes.
So and also, if anybody asks you, I want to apply or I want to apply what I've learned and I want to see the results, should they start like freelancing, or should they like write their own manga and publish it on Instagram and see what people's reaction, or what do they do?
Yeah, there is some of the mangaka, they start with self-publishing, or they have this website, what they call it, Webtoon or something.
Webtoon, yes.
Yeah, they can start there, so it's a good beginning.
For them to...
Yeah.
Okay.
And if they have a good budget, they can print their own mangas and start publishing and selling it in some stores or some events, like, as we said, Comic-Con or anime, like these anime, what do you call it?
Exhibitions?
exhibitions and stuff. So they can start like that from
Okay.
website, from then printing, and then they can go to publisher houses. So why not?
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Samah, Manga Arabia, or what's the name of the book that you authored? Manga بالعربي.
My own book, فن المانجا, the art of manga.
The art of manga, but you have English and Arabic version, correct? You have only Arabic version.
No, only Arabic. Inshallah, one day.
Okay, so the art of manga in Arabic. First of all, thank you very much for your time.
You're
Much
welcome.
appreciated. Thank you.